And hello, Savannah. Thank you for tuning in to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Welcome, everybody. You just tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. Happy Wednesday, everybody. And in the studio today, I have Daniil Ivanov. Say hi, Daniil, to the people out there.
Good afternoon. It's cold.
It's very cold. Brr. And we are here again today to talk at you for 1 hour about real estate and everything that we've been up to and educate you, hopefully, a little bit. Also play some music and have some fun. So we're glad that you're here on this cold Wednesday afternoon. We're broadcasting live, of course, from downtown Savannah near Troop Square. So if you're in the area and you know where the studio is, you can walk by the window and just wave at us. We might wave back at you.
Do not knock on the door.
Do not knock on the door. And so on our show, like I said, we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing. On today's show, I thought we'd talk a little bit about this home that my family, I guess, inherited in earlier last year that I'm trying to sell right now. It required for me to get a energy efficiency letter, which is required to get any kind of financing in Germany. So this is a thing that's not the same here in the United States. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And as well as transferring properties in Germany is different than here in the United States. So when I was there and I talked to an appraiser and a real estate agent there, he was, of course, very interested how we do business in terms of transferring real estate here in the United States. And I wanted to share with you some of the things I learned from him of how it is done there. So we're going to focus our show a little bit on that today. And what else we're going to talk about? What else we got going on?
I don't know.
What do we not have going on right now?
We got the office fixed. That was a project. That was awesome.
So, dear listeners there, I have been painting.
For the last 5 days?
I actually have painted a whole room. Not by myself, but it was pretty good. I never thought I could do it.
It was horrible. If you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, we're going to tell you that story. So that's going to be our fun story. But before we get to that, actually, make sure I'm actually recording this. Oh, yeah, I am. Good. Before we get to that, that's what we usually do. We have announcements. We have music that we play. And, yeah, we'll get you right into that after this one song. So stay on. Don't go anywhere. So thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Real Talk. Again, we're glad that you are here, as always. And on today's show, we're talking about some of the things we're having to deal with right now in terms of selling some real estate that my family inherited in Germany. And one of the things that they're requesting, there's actually a couple things that they asked me for, was and this is family property, basically my childhood home that I need to sell. One of the things that they asked me to provide was the energy letter, the Energiebrief. And that basically just says how energy efficient a home is. And without that, from what I understood from the real estate agent / appraiser that I had hired to give me an estimate of the value of the home, that is necessary to get any kind of financing in Germany. And yesterday, actually, was the day that I finally got that. Because first off, I didn't even know how to get that energy letter. And I don't even know what it was. We don't have such a thing here in the United States. Never heard of it.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit crazy that the real estate agent is actually an appraiser as well. So is it a conflict of the interest?
Very much the conflict of the interest, yes. And it was really squirrely because he came to the house and he was kind of giving us a little bit of an overview about the area and how much we could expect for the house. And then he's like, oh, you're in real estate. And after that, it was pretty much a 3-hour conversation about basically the trade of how it is here, how it is there, and we exchanged a lot of information. He was very interested. Apparently, this particular appraiser that I hired had actually went to school for appraising homes in Germany, which is a whole different way of how they do it there versus how they do it here. And he is part of a club. They have like a sort
like
of
a private club.
A private club. It is actually just like that. It's a private club of other appraisers / real estate agents who exchange information about areas. This is some squirrely stuff.
A little mafia going on.
Totally. And he was giving me like, and you have to multiply the value of the land with this blah, blah, blah factor. And I'm like, where do you get this factor from? Well, this factor is stored, this number.
So it's kind of random by the area. Who chooses it?
This multiplication number is stored somewhere in the city archives, but you can't go in there because they sealed off that particular room because it had asbestos in it and they closed it, so it's dangerous to go in. So nobody goes in there for the last 30 years.
So I'm like, bomb laying up there still from the World War II.
So I'm like, and this is no joke, people out there, if you're listening to this is totally what happened. I'm not making this up. So I'm like, okay, so there's property records, physical records in this room, in this courthouse, or in the basement, actually, is what he said, somewhere in this town where I'm trying to sell this house, and nobody can go in there.
So nobody knows
because
really what's the
nobody
truth.
really
what's
knows what the hell is going on. Nice. And I'm like, okay, so how did you get the number? Well, the counties all get together and the cities all get together and they get this multiplication factor, which is calculated according to the sales in that area. And I'm like, okay, well, can I just not look at the sales of that area? Like, how many houses have sold for how much in my neighborhood? And he's like, oh, no. That is completely classified information. Like, you cannot find out how much a neighbor paid for a house unless the neighbor tells you, which he said most people will not tell you how much they paid for a house. It's very much secret information.
And another thing was they didn't really have like that open market relationship where any real estate agent come in and bid on that house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the area, it's like under this one person.
Mm-hmm.
He or she controls that whole town or whatever the part of the town, and no other real estate agent can come in. And you sign like a contract with them, right? So once it's sold, for whatever reason, for whatever money it's sold, you cannot really go to another agent and be like, hey, can you sell it for a different price? Now you kind of working with that person. Mm-hmm. It's like a contract.
Yeah, what Janelle is saying here, dear listeners, is there's no such thing as like a multiple listing service like we have here in the United States. When you list a house, all the other agents can see it. All the other agents know what the asking price is. I mean, you know the asking price if you go to that real estate agent. That real estate agent will sell you the properties that he or she has under contract to sell. And he doesn't have visibility what other real estate agents have for sale or agencies. And he doesn't know. And it's everybody is working in their own little bubble, basically. So you can get 10 different houses from this guy, 5 different houses from this guy. And you basically, you're basically shopping around from store to store, basically. It's how that works with real estate. It's what I understand.
Yeah, that's kind of, I would say a little bit unfair and a little
and I was
monopolized.
Yeah, exactly.
Like.
It's very European. It's very. So I remember you and we were there and we were talking about this and we're like, let's introduce some American values here to Germany.
Doesn't work.
Open, everything's open. So and I also, when I was talking to this appraiser, he said, I'm going to give you this market report, this appraisal of your home, but don't share that with anybody. It's a secret. Don't give it to anybody. Yeah, but nobody can see this.
Also, like, back to that ladder, that was crazy. I mean, what that ladder actually is, can you, like, just...
This energy ladder?
Yeah, what exactly the thing is.
So, I guess in Europe, people are very, very energy and environmentally efficient, which is a good thing. I actually believe in that. It's just that we are not quite there yet here in some of the other Western countries. By the way, I didn't read my disclaimer. I should probably do that. Let me do that real quick. So the viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRU, its license holder, or its staff. So these are our opinions. But here in the United States, environmentally conscious people do exist, obviously. We have that here too. But in Europe, it is institutionalized. This is the law. Like, if you don't separate your trash, you're gonna go on the red blacklist. You're gonna go on the nasty list,
Yeah,
naughty list. Like, you will not get presents for Christmas if you don't sort your trash, and everybody will know. And
you become like a black sheep or like whatever. It's just like everybody, the neighbors were like, ooh, pointing fingers at that house.
Yeah. And so it goes with selling real estate. You have to provide an energy efficiency letter, which basically, I have that actually in front of me. It's a 5-page report. My cousin over there had to get it from the chimney sweeper, which, by the way, from what I understand from your brother, is one of those professions in Europe, in Germany specifically, that's...
Oh, it still goes for generations.
It goes for generations. In fact, back in the day, he said that some of these or like chimney sweeper organizations, I don't even know what you call them.
They're like almost like a union. I mean,
a union, yeah, exactly. They use the chimney sweeper is allowed to go into your home to inspect the chimney.
Yeah, that's
quotes,
right. Because
the chimney.
Yeah, because the law enforcement were using them to set up the bugs and all that.
Exactly,
stuff,
and then during like Nazi times, like during the rule of the Nazis, basically, that's where you would basically check to see if there's anybody hiding that isn't supposed to be in the country. And Jewish
by
people
law allowed to walk in without like
they're
a law,
allowed to
like,
walk
without
in.
The court. Nothing.
Without a court order, without an appointment, they can walk into your house like pretty much any time. And I remember your sister-in-law told me that they came one time and your brother just came home from work. He was sleeping, and the chimney's like, "Well, I'm here to inspect the chimney." And your sister said, "No, because like my husband's sleeping right now." And
they called the cops, didn't they?
And no, they left like a note, and they left a note that the next time they're going to show up with police if they don't open the door for the chimney sweeper. I mean,
crazy.
And your sister, she's like, but this is crazy.
But that profession still exists up there.
Very much,
actually, and they're making pretty good money as well.
Yeah, and they can spy. They can spy on anybody. Okay, so we're getting sidetracked here. But I had to hire basically the chimney sweeper, and this is what my cousin said after he actually came, because I'm going to have to translate this for you guys here in Savannah's curious stuff here, because I had no clue how to get this energy letter. Never heard of it, don't know what it is. And he said that the chimney sweeper was there. He always did the chimney sweeping for your parents. I'm like, okay. And he always looked for the heater. He knows a couple people in that neighborhood, and he is very trustworthy. And I'm like, okay. He will get you an energy letter, and he'll send it to me the bill, or to you the bill. And the one thing that stood out from this note that I got from my cousin was that he knows people in that neighborhood. I'm like, what does that mean exactly? So the chimney sweeper is basically just like the common neighborhood watchdog or something. Is that?
I guess it's like you have like your own dentist, you have your own doctor for the family, and then you have your chimney sweeper. Like that's the guy. That's your guy.
The chimney sweeper is your guy. So these energy. It's not even called an energy letter. It's called an energy ID card for this house, and it has basically. He took a picture of the house. It's a 5-page document. It has the address. It tells you what kind of circulation, ventilation there is throughout the house. And since it's an old house, we don't have any like a venting system. I guess that's built in, because back in the old day, you just open the windows, basically. So that's kind of said here. And then it says it basically is a letter that gives you information about the energy quality of the building. So it has a chart, too, on it, and it basically tells you what is the energy usage of this building on the chart, and it goes from green to red, basically. If you can't see this here on the radio, I'm just kind of describing you what it looks like. And it has a rating from A to H, and I'm not even sure what this means, but basically it gives you a little bit of a description that basically A plus or A is the efficiency house.
It's like a third of the alphabet. A to H.
B,
That's a lot of
yeah.
levels.
B would be like a new building. C would be a modernized one-family home that is well modernized, it says. Then D would be a average home quality, and F would be multiple apartment home that has not been remodeled, if energy efficiency, and then you got the G and H for one family homes that have not been modernized whatsoever in terms of heating.
Where that house fell on, like
we
a
are
bedroom?
we're on an F. We are on the scale of F, which is on the same scale as a multiple apartment home that has not been modernized, which is kind of weird because my parents.
But the house is what, like a four bed? Like if we explain how to Americans how that house is.
So houses in Europe, the older ones specifically, have not really been built to any kind of architectural standards of the modern day, where you have the master bedroom that has an attached master bathroom and
walk-in
closets, and an extra. It's not even like that. There's there could be a kitchen next to the bathroom, next to the basement,
just
next
whatever
to
they could put
living
together,
whatever, and then you just add stuff to it. And a lot of times houses are actually separated. So my neighbor's house and my parents' house used to be one house. One used to be like the big barn, I guess, back in the day, and my parents' house was the living quarters. Okay. And at some point, sisters inherited different parts. So instead of let's just sell the house and split the proceeds, let's just split the house in the middle, kind of thing.
Just build.
And just add stuff on each side, kind of like that. And also, my parents have a well, believe it or not. We have a well.
Working well.
And it's a working well. We have in the backyard is a well, and it works. And there's always water in it. So, and we have rights to the well. Apparently, that's a big thing.
It is a big thing. Yeah, you've been telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the house is pretty much, if we're on that F category, we're looking at like a 4-bedroom house, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About
how many bedrooms are there? I'm trying to think. There's 3 bedrooms, but there's 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms.
So it's kind of just a weird design. But
there's a basement that has pretty much 3 rooms in it. 2.5 bathrooms. I mean, but they're not like. It's just kind of like
they're not well designed how we used to it up here.
Yeah. I mean, I totally like it. I would live there if I was living there.
If you live up there, yeah.
But and then it has a building in the back, an actual solid building in the back. My dad used as a workshop.
Yeah.
You could make another living quarters there if you finished it. It's also built out of concrete.
Which is common in Europe. A lot of people keep those little shops because a lot of men still do like tree work and building their own furniture and I guess metal work, whatnot, whoever's interested.
Yeah, they have the little garden sheds and stuff like that. So it's nice. It's nice. So I have this energy ID card now, which I will send.
So now we can put it on the market. We have all the paperwork.
I know. It took me 2 months to just put the house on the market because I didn't have all the information. So I got the appraisal, got the energy ID. And what else were they asking? Oh, they were asking me for another thing. They were asking me another thing I would never even think about is the architectural drawings of the house from the front, from the side. Like, I'm not an architect, dear people there in Savannah out there. So if you're an architect and you're listening to the show, I'm sure your ears are perking up and your hair is probably standing up straight right now.
Oh, we never knew that.
No, I never did. So basically, there's a drawing from the front, which I'm sure there's an architectural term for this, and from the side, and it shows you.
All comes to mind is like facade or something.
Yeah. Basically, it is. It's like a picture of the facade, and then a picture of the cross cut of the house. Like stuff like that I've never had to produce when I was selling a home.
Well,
Like I would
usually
tell
they have-
people, it's like, you want to see it? Go inside, look at it. But no,
it's-
they want the actual dimensions. How tall is the room?
But isn't it like public records? Every building almost has it, usually up here, if you want it, but they don't require it. But you can go, I think, to the courthouse and
You
get
can,
it.
well, not the courthouse. I think it would be the building
Or the building authority or something.
authority
They might pull it from
might
the
have
archives.
something like that. Yeah. Or if you buy a new home, a lot of times you're been given the drawings. A lot of times new houses anyways, are built according to, like I said, architectural drawings that have.
But how
are
many
picked
properties
from
we
a set.
went through, we never had to experience that where you actually...
No.
I mean, with the license with Airbnb, we had to draw our own
Yeah,
stuff.
we had to
That
draw
was
our
crazy.
own stuff. Yeah, to get the license here in Chatham County to just draw the dimensions of the building. And I remember we went there too. They're like, okay, so
Just
do
draw
you have a
it.
picture of the house? I'm like, no. Can you draw it?
It was like
Yeah,
a
I guess.
fifth grader trying to like parking spots,
Here's
like
parking
windows.
spots. Here's a window. Here's a tree.
Yeah, here's a happy children, having a I don't know, air balloon or something.
So that's that. So now I can actually advertise the thing. But the thing is, I guess Germany is still a buyer's market, I'm thinking, because, a seller's market, which means we already have 3 interested parties that have requested information, and they have already gotten everything except for this energy ID. So we're going to try to get that to them, hopefully the next couple days, and see if anybody makes an offer. We'll see. That is our experience on selling a home here in the United States. Oh, sorry, Germany. It was
yes,
like,
yes,
there you
that's
go.
our experience.
So we are at the bottom of the hour here. You're listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. And in the studio with me is Daniil Ivanov. Today we're talking about selling a home in Germany that I'm working on right now. What else we got going on? What we have not
I
going on
think
right
we
now?
can talk maybe after
After the break, yeah, we got
after
a
the
break.
break.
coming
Maybe
up.
we can talk about our little project because it is something we do right now.
Which one?
Well, the office.
Oh yeah, the office. Yeah, let's talk about the office. We'll do that after the
It
break.
was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to play a song. Actually, I'm going to play some announcements. We're going to play a song, and we'll be right back after that. So don't go anywhere. Stay on.
The Live Oak Public Library System offers local residents access to hundreds of thousands of movies, television programs, albums, audiobooks, ebooks, and digital comic books for free on your streaming television and mobile devices through the Hoopla app. Supported devices include Roku, Fire, Apple TV, iPhone, and Android, among others. The selection is vast. All you'll need is your library card. Find the Hoopla app on your device and more information at liveoakpl.org.
Family Promise of Effingham County, an organization that provides a place to stay for homeless families, is conducting an Adopt a Room fundraiser. This Adopt a Room fundraiser is seeking people who would like to donate to upgrade a room at the Family Promise House. For more information on this fundraiser, visit www.effinghamfamilypromise.org or call 912-519-0567.
Do you own a small business? Do you want to get your message out to a dedicated, loyal, and active audience? Then make WRUU part of your company's marketing strategy. Our listeners aren't just passively listening to us in the background. When your company underwrites with WRUU, you're getting their attention. And you're also supporting Savannah's only community radio station. It's an act of both self-interest and community spirit. Connect your brand with WRUU's passion, spunk, and hyper-local focus by choosing an underwriting package that fits your company's budget. Email underwriting@wruu.org for more information.
So what else we've been doing? Painting.
Yes,
So-
that's an interesting
So
project.
Daniil here, my friend, business partner, associate, whatever you want to call him, decided last Monday, not 2 days ago, but the week before, I'm going to paint the room.
So I
going-
thought. With the smile and the...
So with a smile, we go to Home Depot and we buy supplies. We had brushes, a tarp. We already had paint. We got some trim. and
Tape, a lot of tape. You need a lot of tape.
Need a lot of tape. So, yeah, and then how long did it last you till you gave up? 2 days, right?
2 or 3. I think on the 3rd, I finally.
And all I can hear is all these words that you can't hear on the radio. Bleep, bleep, bleep. This is a bunch of bleep.
And the text message is like, "Hey, stop by the store, get a bottle of wine. I'm done."
No. That's not what he said. He said, "Give me a pack of cigarettes."
Oh yeah,
And I'm like,
usually.
"Oh, cigarettes! It's serious."
Yeah, don't smoke. I don't usually, unless I'm very stressed.
Yeah, he's very stressed. I'm like, "Mom, I gotta bring the cigarettes. It's gotta be really serious."
It was, yeah.
And I think so. When I came to the house, I think everything that you had touched in the last 2 days had paint on it.
Yeah. So as I said,
The chairs, the walls, the floors, the carpet.
That TV show Dexter, when he was killing his victims, he had nothing on me what I did to this house. It was bad.
like if paint was blood, it would have been a crime scene.
Oh man, and that's it. It's like it would be a big crime scene. But anyways, so yeah, we carried a lot of experience. So to all the painters out there, I mean, you're doing
hats down to you. Yes,
Yeah,
it's not
because
easy to paint a
it's
room.
not easy, no. So, but there was a lot of tips, I guess, and a lot of things we learned.
Or else we're a bunch of painting idiots, because I mean, I had to really put my mind around it. Then after that, for 2 days, we were shopping for somebody else to finish this because I wasn't going to touch it.
Yeah, and
So-
I gave up. So, but after 5 days of
Nah.
swearing,
Think about Fridays when I got into the game. That's when
Yeah.
I decided, okay, let me take this on and see if I can do it. And
yeah,
then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and yesterday was yesterday too. So, no, yesterday we didn't paint. So Monday. So it took me 4 days after the 2 days that you worked on it to actually
so it's a
finish.
6-day,
6-day
room.
project. It was
We
a small
horrible.
room too.
We
Very,
horrible.
the smallest room in the whole house, like 5 by 7 feet or something.
But I can say we did it right, and it looks great. Now we can see the other contractors who we had in this house who painted before, and now we can see the mistakes they made and how sloppy job they did.
That's right.
So now I can be an expert of seeing who is doing it right way or not. But we did good, I think.
Yeah, it looks really good now. So we moved in a new office. Now I have my own office. Finally, after how many years of being in business, I have an actual office room, which I can use for my videos and
Yeah,
you know,
we can do
recording
that
radios,
You
YouTube
can
channel some more.
We're putting
yeah.
a green screen, which will be cool.
Yes, we're gonna put a green screen. Oh, it's nice. It looks really good. So one thing I want to say is to you, if you're planning to paint a room, either
Get a lot of patience.
yeah, just have to have patience and just take the time to do it. And it's good to do it with 2 people, even if only one person painting, so the other person can, make
Support
food, bring stuff, because it's hard once you pour the paint. It's hard to stop in the middle and do something else because the paint will dry. You have to kind of do it in sections.
And it's a moral support, actually. Very, I don't know,
Very
crack a
useful.
joke or something.
Yeah. So I'm confident to do another room, but I have to definitely plan this one out because you don't
Well,
want to.
I think this one's gonna go faster because, as everything else, once you start doing something once, second times it's get better, easier. I think now we know what we're doing.
Also, the added difficulty is this is an old house and it has plaster walls, which were not smooth walls.
No.
Like if you go to a new building, a new home, the walls are smooth. You have nice drywall. It's easy to paint.
Yeah, the trim is not
The
cracked,
trim
and
is
it's
not
like a 5
cracked with
different
holes in
paints
it, and
before.
yeah, it doesn't have like 3 or 4. I mean, we actually discovered there used to be green color in this room
Yeah, which was a weird color.
because a couple times we pulled off the tape and some of the previous paint layers came off, and it's like, it's green under there.
It's almost like you kind of like an archaeologist. You can figure out by the layers of
Right.
the paint how old the house is.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. So yeah, that was our experience with painting. All the hats down to everybody out there that's painting. If anybody ever tells you, oh, you're just a painter, or, no, this is some serious work. So if you want to have it done right or do it right, and not anybody can
Either
do
do
it.
it yourself or find somebody professional. I personally, do it ourselves. It's, well, yeah, and wear the mask because you get a headache from that paint. A few times I was a little bit under the paint influence, I guess, because I didn't wear the mask.
Yeah, I know. I came back one time to the house and you're like, and I'm like, the first thing I ask is like, are you high?
Yeah, no,
He's
like,
like,
I didn't
no.
even notice it.
No. I'm like, are you drunk? He's like, no.
Red eyes.
Totally. So yeah,
And
don't.
careful with those electrical things too. Yeah, please kill the. I kind of almost got shocked a few times, especially with the fans. If you have a fence on the ceiling, take them down. It's easy to put them back up. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
it's a
remember.
different. Require a different strategy. I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely. Okay. All right. Yeah, so we have another 18 minutes or so left to talk.
Yeah.
I was going to say the BS word, but I'm like, no, let's just talk for another 18 minutes or so. We're going to play some music.
Actually, I know what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, what's
You-
the next segment
Yeah,
here?
I'm
Announce it to us.
Yeah, I'm thinking to talk about how excited you were. One of your first students just had.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe shout out to her as well.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Give a shout out
And
to one of my
tell that
students.
story as
One of my
well.
successful students. I got to tell the story. So yeah, let's go right to that after this break song. We'll be right back after that. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. In the studio today with me is Daniel Ivanov, my friend, business associate, partner, and
in crime.
in crime as always. And we are talking about real estate. And you're listening to, of course, WRULP. Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And we got about 13 minutes left. Wanted to share the story about one of my students, one of my very first students actually here in Savannah. And from, I don't know, maybe like a year and a half ago. And well, actually, I've had students before her as well. But this is my first student that actually bought something at an auction that I was teaching at. So what I do too is, if you've listened to my show before, I am very heavily involved with tax sale foreclosures. So she called me yesterday, and she was learning with me right before the pandemic started last year, about a year and a half ago. And eventually we did go to an auction together, and she purchased a home, or a lien, I should say, because it was right here in Georgia, a lien here at Chatham County for a property in Port Wentworth. So that's kind of
I
like
can't
over,
pronounce that.
yeah, Port Wentworth. There you go. And it was she. I don't remember how much she paid. Maybe like 13,000. I think.
She said 13,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And on Zillow.
Yeah. And we looked on Zillow yesterday. The house is worth about 60,000. It was a very small home, and apparently
That was cute though. It
it was
wasn't like
cute
beat
little
up or
home.
nothing.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And so she called me yesterday, and of course she used my attorney because this is her first time doing it. She's never done this before. We searched several auctions. We went to several auctions together, and I was basically just walking with her, alongside her, and kind of teaching her, this is a good deal, this isn't a good deal. She was very good about just purchasing something, jumping in the cold water, basically, like biting in the sour lemon, whatever you say. And, by the way, I have a whole nother story about all those sayings. Germans have sayings. It's crazy.
Reminds me, we got to get some lemons. But okay, let's get back.
Okay, we're back to the topic. So she called me yesterday, and she said she got a call from my attorney, who is also her attorney now, basically, that eventually barred the redemption rights of this property that she bought about a year and a month ago or something now. And the property was hers. And she's like, hey, Julia, it's thanks to you. I got this property. So one of my students, success story, she signed up with me to learn with me so I can coach her. She purchased the property, and she got the property. And it's, as far as I know, there's no need to do a lot of repairs or anything. It's already
On the
rented.
picture looks like it's living property, and it's awesome investment. 13,000 on 60.
Yeah, and she's gonna get, anywhere between, I don't know how much they rent out there for, $800,000 a month or something.
Yeah, you can rent out directly, and that's not only
That's
you can
money.
flip it, but I would suggest not to.
No, just keep it for forever.
And rent it out.
And she was very worried. She called me and she said, my attorney says that the house is mine, but I can't sell it because I got to do something else. And she didn't understand that. And I'm like, no. So I kind of set her straight. I guess my attorney and our attorney basically told her the right thing. He said, you can sell it, but it's not a good title because you didn't do a quiet title action, which is the second legal action that you have to do after buying a tax sale foreclosure. But you can use it, you can live in it yourself, you can rent it, you can sell it even, but you have to basically disclose to the buyer that that's how you got it, and it's not a completely clear title. You would have to still do a quiet title action. But I mean, on that profit margin, spending 13 and getting 60, and it's probably worth even more because I didn't even look on Zillow.
Anybody goes to, but that's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal. That's a good deal, and this is 1 year investment. So this is, what is that, like three times as much?
300%.
Yeah,
it's even more if you round it. I mean.
Exactly.
Rounding
So
down,
I'm
600.
so proud of her. So shout out to D. Saurus. Thank you so much for learning with me. I'm so proud of you if you're listening. And yeah.
And word of the advice as well, because that property would look like it was occupied because somebody either living up there or do not go yourself up there and try to be a hero and try to be like, hey, this is my property. Go through legal channels because people do have a right to, it doesn't really matter of what, but they do have a right to protect their own property, even though they don't know that it belongs to you at this point. Still go through legal channels because last thing, you want to get involved.
Yeah, and she called me because of that, specifically because she's like, well, I've never been there. I don't want to go there. And I'm like, yeah, just don't. I mean, you can drive by on a public street to see if it's obvious if somebody lives there or not, but don't knock on the door or try to, put any foot in the door. Don't do that.
So how the procedure works? First, it's a letter, right? You send in a letter to if the building
eviction,
is
eviction, or it's called filing for a dispossessionary here in Chatham County. So the way it works, and it's actually a pretty swift process here in the state of Georgia, you send your tenants or whoever's living in your home that you need to evict, you send them a letter, and they have 7 or 10 days or something to respond to that letter. So you have to do, of course, return receipt, all that stuff, so you have proof that you sent it. And then they can respond to the judge or to you to vacate, basically, or they can, then you can go to the court and file for the dispossessionary, which will be a sheriff will come or a police officer or whatever and serve the letter or pin it to the door if nobody's there. And then you have, 30 days to respond or something. If they don't respond, they come and you're not... The sheriff won't remove any belongings, nor are you allowed to as a homeowner. You kind of need to bring a third person.
I think they appointed, I know different counties because we just went through that in Newton County with my neighbor Andy. Shout out to him, by the way, as well. But I know some counties takes 3 months. I heard up to 6 months. I know it's a process and I know it takes time, but that's the right way to do. Go legal around it. And so there will be no questions asked afterwards, and just stay safe in those situations because people do go through a hard time when situations like this occur. So people might respond, with more aggression. And
exactly.
So just kind of please be safe.
Yeah,
in those
the
situations.
difference between home ownership and actually possession of the home are two different things. So my student, she owns this home now. There might or might not be somebody living there, either a tenant or the original homeowner. And in order for her to actually take possession of the property, she still has to go through the eviction if that's what she chooses to do. I think she had mentioned to me if it was a tenant, they're paying rent, why don't they just pay rent to her? There's a whole nother issue with that, and we talked about that because we both basically very cognizant of the fact that we don't want to cause additional hardships for people who are already in a hardship or tenants that may not even know that the ownership of the property has changed. So that's a whole nother process. So we're not working towards, oh, we're just going to kick you out. We've talked about this. I'm just talking about the legal aspect of this, that there's a procedure and a process, and that ownership of a home is separate from possession of a home. And if somebody lives there that isn't the owner, there are steps and procedures and rules that you have to follow legally in order to get that changed if that's what you chose to do. So everything we do on the show, of course, our viewpoints and the viewpoints expressed in the preceding program were not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. They're just our opinions. And that sums it up. So I hope you enjoyed our show for today. We're talking extensively about Germany and German laws and energy IDs and our painting adventure, as well as my student who has a success story. So this is good show, good Wednesday, I think.
I think
good
everybody
music.
stay warm.
Everybody stay
good
warm.
Lunch.
Yeah. And after this show, we have a show called Mother Beat, and stay on for that if that's what you're into. That's really some really cool music coming up. And my show here is on Wednesdays at noon. Real Estate Real Talk. You can catch previous shows on YouTube as well as the WRU.org website. I am working very, very hard to catch up. I have a new office now, so I can do that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Excited.
And I hope you have a great, awesome Wednesday afternoon. I'm fiddling here with my controls to see if I can get you a song.
And
but yeah, stay on, and
happy past Valentine's Day, by the way.
happy past
everybody.
Valentine's Day, and shout
Love
out
each
to
other and
anybody who's
smile.
listening that we know. And yeah, come and listen to us again. We usually have, and this is just a little glimpse of how much fun we have working together. You just never know what might happen next week. So tune in, because there might be more adventures that we'll share. So have a great Wednesday, everybody. And goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.